My brother is a Navy SEAL, which means a lot of things, but one thing it does is that when he is at home training in the States with his teammates, they go to a number of different schools to pick up different skill sets. So while you're in classes like history and algebra, he was in schools like kitchen bomb school, or how to pick a lock or something like that. I remember when I was in seminary, he called me on the phone and we figured out we both had big tests coming up. I said, mine's on Greek participles. I'm kind of nervous about that. I said, what's yours about? And he said, mine's on how to stalk a guy. Because he was at sniper school and that was the final. You had to stalk a guy through the jungle and grab him. It's kind of a pass-fail thing. So that's the direction our lives have taken. But I remember I went to his house one day and he showed us this video from a school that he had just come back from called HALO School. HALO is an acronym. It stands for High Altitude, Low Opening. It's a parachuting school. And it's not just for the SEALs. All branches of the military can use it, but it's still a pretty intense school. Like they give you maybe half a day of classroom training, and then by the next day, they're shoving you out of airplanes. And so when this video starts, watching these guys is nothing short of hilarious. Because they're all terrified at the beginning, and I'll never forget the first guy, like, even if you've never been parachuting before, you still have maybe seen enough to know that when you exit the plane, you want to be parallel with the ground, right? The first guy jumps out, and as soon as he hits the air, he just starts running. And you're watching him, and you're like, there's no traction, bro, lean! All right, what are you doing, all right? And yet for the rest of them, even those who figured that out, they would open their mouths, which makes your cheeks flap, that makes you look silly, they look terrified, and so on and on, they look funny. But with every successive jump, they learn some new skill. How to rotate their body at exact degrees, how to tack at over 100 miles an hour. And so as we're watching this video, as time goes on, they start to look less and less funny and more impressive. And so by the end of the video, as we're watching it, I noticed in the room that none of us were laughing anymore. Because as we watched them for their final jump, as they walked to the plane, they weren't in the baby blue training outfits anymore. They were in dark colors, jungle greens and blacks. They had 60 pounds of gear strapped to them, including weapons. And when they got onto the plane, they didn't look nervous. And when the signal was given, they leapt out without hesitation. And as they descended through the air, it struck me in that moment, there's a reason none of us are laughing anymore. It's because it just became clear to us again why it is they're doing this. These aren't guys just doing a parachuting class for fun. These are warriors, and they're training for a mission. They're training to insert behind enemy lines. High altitude so the enemy won't hear the plane. Low opening so you spend minimal amount of time in the air as an open target. And the reason they're doing this is so that they can go into the midst of danger, parachuting in, to save those who are being oppressed and to wreak havoc upon those who oppress men. And I remember as I watched that, the sentence was so clear in my mind, now that is Christmas. I don't know what you think about when you hear the word Christmas. I don't know if you've ever been asked that question by someone, hey, what does Christmas mean to you? Some people say things like, when I think of Christmas, I think about family, or I think about presents, or I think about Jesus, but littler. I don't know what you say when people ask you what Christmas means to you, but can I give you a heads up as the Christmas season comes in a couple months? Let me give you an answer that if someone asks you what does Christmas mean to you, you can give them a one-word answer that's very biblical. Next time you're asked that, what does Christmas mean to you? You can say, when I think Christmas, I think destruction. Yeah, the reason for the season is destruction. And you'd be biblical in saying that. Now you say, Ben, where do you get that? I get it from 1 John chapter 3, verse 8, where it says, the Son of God appeared for this purpose, to destroy the works of the devil. Jesus came to destroy something. We celebrate Christmas because God wanted something destroyed. Now, some of you hear that and you go, whoa, wait, Ben, destroyed? I mean, I thought Jesus came to save people. I thought he came to bring peace. I thought he came to heal people. What are you talking about, destruction? Well, it makes sense if you think about it. To save people necessarily assumes that they were in a prior state where they were held captive. To bring peace assumes that there's a situation where there is no peace. And to heal assumes that there's a disease that needs to be cut out. And liberation requires destruction. And if we're going to be on board with what our God cares about and what our God is doing in the world, we need to get on board with this reality that our God wants something destroyed.